It's time for 41 is the Mic, a weekly Chiefs podcast with Nick Jacobs of KSHB 41 and Matt Derrick of Chiefs Digest. 41 is the Mic starts now.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of 41 is the Mic. I am Matt Derrick from Chiefs Digest, alongside landman enthusiast Nick Jacobs from KSHB 41. And I say that, Nick, because that's the only good thing that came out of today, isn't it? It's the return of Landman.
Look, man, happy Landman Day to you and yours, Matt. It's going to be a great day once I finally get to watch a episode after we get done taping 41 is the Mic here. So whenever people listen to this and hear it and see it, they will find out that I have not watched it yet. But I am pumped for it, man. I've been waiting for a minute. Such a good show, Matt. So I am, I'm starting off positive here for everybody.
I didn't jump on the bandwagon till late, so I just only streamed the first season like a few weeks ago. So I mean, I didn't have to wait as long as you did. So but we're all on the same page now.
That's right, Matt.
I wish we start off talking about Landman, Nick, because this game is going to the postmortem on this one is going to be depressing. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, the Chiefs are not striking oil right now. They're not doing that.
They are not striking oil. It's a 22-19 loss to the Broncos, a game that, once again, the Chiefs could have won, maybe should have won, put themselves into the position, and one play here or there certainly would have made a huge difference in this one, and did make a huge difference for the Broncos. They were able to make the plays that the Chiefs could not make. I mean, I did not come away from this game thinking, Nick, that the Broncos were a clearly superior team to the Chiefs. I mean, if anything, this tells you that they're probably in the same ballpark. But once again, Chiefs are 0-5 in close games. What's the deal? And let's even just start specifically with the game plan, because normally what we'd be talking about in this situation would be Andy Reid coming up to bye week 22-4. We know all of this. The rare Andy Reid loss, but this did not look like an Andy Reid team coming off a bye week.
No, the most blunt way I can put this right now is that what I saw out there on Sunday was a football team that wasn't as focused as it should have been. It lacked a lot of discipline. It lacked more passion than I was anticipating coming out of a bye week. I thought they'd look refreshed. Instead, they still look like they're going through the motions, looked exhausted. They look like who they were earlier in the season. And above all else, I just saw a team that was completely out of rhythm, and they never really got into a rhythm. And I know the coaching staff this week, throughout the week, will talk about how the Broncos are one of the better defenses in the league, and they're 100% right. Statistically, they are. And the Chiefs may have had some things in their game plan that worked out, but at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, those are the type of teams they are going to play come playoff time, if they make the playoffs at this point. So the unfortunate part of it is I was underwhelmed with a lot of the game plan on both sides of the ball. I was underwhelmed with a lot of the execution. And I understand where the Chiefs have been over these past handful of years. I get all that. But above all else, I just saw a football team that just lacks an identity. Above everything else, they just don't know how to execute some of the things they need to, and they may not. The reality is, some of it they may not have the roster to execute parts of the scheme that they want to, and they may not have some people on the coaching staff that are capable of getting these guys to where they need to be so that they can execute. I see some guys that look like they might be tuning out from time to time. I see a lack of difference makers on the roster on both sides of the football, and that's part of the reason that they're losing some games this year. The league may have caught up to them. We will find out as all these games continue to go along, but they may have come to a point where the guys they can lean on a regular basis are getting caught with father time, and other NFL teams have a beat on what they've been doing and what they've been doing over the past decade, and just don't necessarily have the will or the focus that they need to push themselves over the finish line. Because there's no reason with 8 minutes left there in the fourth quarter that they shouldn't have been able to close out that game. Like, that was the moment you go in there, you close out that game, you come home with a victory. Like the Chiefs of yesteryears, would have been able to put enough plays together to do that. Just like there was times during the CBS broadcast where Romo and Nance were talking about, well, the Chiefs got a lot of speed on their team. They can do this and that. No, they don't have Tyreek Hill speed anymore. Tyreek Hill was such a difference on this football team in his prime. Yes, when they had that, they could run the Hail Mary. They could run this. They could run that. And Tyreek would just boom, catch it, make the, and go the distance. And Patrick didn't always have to be in rhythm with him. Patrick didn't always have to place it in the right spot. Now he has to do all those things, and he doesn't necessarily have the supporting cast that's capable of getting it done from time to time.
I thought, you mentioned the 8-minute mark. The 4+ minute mark was the one to me that stood out as being just significant in this sense. And that, I feel like that in the past, teams that were intimidated by the Chiefs, the Broncos down 19-16, might have gone for it on 3rd and 5 and plus territory. They might have gone, or 4th and 5. They may have gone for it there to try and say, wait a minute, we need to keep the ball. We need to score a touchdown. We need to take the lead. We don't want to mess around with this team. And yet the Broncos settled for the field goal to make it 19-19 because they trusted their defense, that their defense was going to get the stop and stop the Chiefs. Chiefs get the ball, and Patrick Mahomes mentioned this in this post-game press conference. How many times have the Chiefs gotten the ball with 4 minutes left, and it's ball game? They're gonna take the ball, march down. You're never gonna see it again. They'll get the field goal, touchdown, whatever the score is, but they're gonna get what they need. This season, they're not doing that. If they're getting that last possession at the end, it's just like today. They're not closing the deal. I'm just, it's kind of like you've got a sports car, Nick, and you're hitting the gas, and you can't get this thing out of first gear. I mean, this offense just isn't its same. And game plan wise, I mean, I don't know what we can say about the fact that it's completely one-dimensional. I don't feel like there's any effort whatsoever to try to establish a run presence whatsoever.
So here's what I'm going to say about the run game, because everybody's wanting to hand out these flowers and hand out these flowers and hand out these flowers, saying, oh, they're doing a great job here, they're doing a great job there. Here's the reality. When they need to lean on their run game, when they need that run game to come through, to take pressure off Patrick Mahomes, to take pressure off Travis Kelce, to take pressure off some other guys on the football team, if they're out of rhythm and they're not in a certain spot or in a certain sync or anything, they don't have it in them. Like whether it's scheme-wise and they're having issues in the scheme, or whether it's chemistry-wise or anything of that nature, they don't have it. And like they will get away from it at times. And there's a multitude of reasons that it could be. But if you have a good run game or you have a solid run game, and you were able to lean on that, that can get you through tough times. That can get you through a bad series. If and I know coaches will argue sometimes down and distance can cause that to happen with a penalty here or this or that. And they're 100% right on that. But whenever you're in favorable situations, like you should be able to lean on your run game. And if you got to do it from under center and you hand off and you run down somebody's throat, that's what you got to do. That was available against Denver multiple times today on runs, but then they either have a penalty or something, or they would do they would do something else. And if there's a problem in my book, if like I know I don't know this to be fact, but I mean if there's something to where like there's a chance to change the play to pass or do something or do this, maybe that needs to be taken out for a little bit. Like and this is what's happening. This is what's being executed. And this is what's going to happen. And that may be what they have to do if that's what's going on behind the scenes. I don't know if it is or not. But, I mean, for there to be, 44 plus passing attempts today? Anytime Juju Smith-Schuster was coming out, I knew they were running a wide receiver screen. Like, because that's all they kept bringing him out there for. It felt like was wide receiver screens. I'm like, okay, well, he's out there in the trips formation. They're screening over there to somebody. Boom, second time you could see it. Boom, third time with Travis Kelce, you could see it. There's just a lot of predictability in what they've done, not just this year, but in past years. That's why the Eagles took you to church and embarrassed you on the biggest stage possible. And I have not seen a team and a coaching staff that has been able to rebound from what the Eagles did to them collectively. The NFL's got their number. They've called, they've left voice messages, and they've sent text messages. They are sending them DMs. They are sending them whatever they want to let them know that they are on notice and they better step their game up not just now, but in the offseason and down the road if they want to get their throne back.
The crazy thing is that you and I had not talked about this, but to me, the Chiefs, they're 5-5 since that Super Bowl game. That's the other thing that's of a note to me. And they're not the same team. They aren't.
No, that swagger's gone.
And
that swagger they had back then, it's not there.
You're exactly right. I mean, that was exact words that I used earlier, like I said, before we even talked about this. So we're clearly on the same page on this one, that not only does this team lack the swagger that it once had, but other teams, nobody's scared of these guys anymore. Nobody. I mean, once upon a time, the Chiefs had teams half beat when the game started because they knew that they were in trouble that day. They knew that they had to play perfect to beat the Chiefs. And if they made one mistake, their afternoon or evening was over. Nobody's scared of Superman anymore.
They found their kryptonite. So they I mean, part of it is predictability in their play calling. Part of it is just predictability and what they're going to do based on the personnel. I think what frustrates me more than anything else about what happened in Denver is you had the whole bye week to look through everything you're doing wrong, everything that's predictable, everything that has been going on since that Super Bowl, and how do you enhance your personnel better? How do you go about disguising things a little bit? How do you go about doing stuff a little bit differently? And the sad thing is they got much better pass protection this year than they've had in 3 or 4 years, ever since they had Fisher and Schwartz. This is the best pass protection they've had. But in my opinion, it's one of the worst run blocking teams they've had. Despite how people want to lift them up like baby Simba and tell them how special they are in their run game because they look better and everything. Look, they don't have a good running backfield. Like Kareem Hunt, he can do the under center stuff. He can run 11 yards from time to time. He can do a little this, a little that. But there's just no cohesiveness in the run scheme and the way they're calling it and the way they're approaching it and the execution of it. And then so they can't lean on that. So then you're doing screens and then you're doing this quick passes and you're doing the read options, the play action pass out of it. And then there was that third down where Mahomes got sacked on 3rd and 10, 3rd and 15 or whatever when McMillan came off the side there. And Patrick's still waiting in his 5 or 7 step drop for the routes to develop because it's a 15-yard thing. And there's so many times year after year after year to where I just get annoyed. And I'm like, where's your safety valve? This is good. If things go bad, if things go sideways, where's your safety valve? It's like, hey, we're just gonna push all in all these chips, and we're not gonna worry about the savings account we need if things go sideways. It's all right there. Push all the chips in. Let's roll the dice. And it just, I don't know. I get irritated sometimes, and I'm just like, come on, man. How many times do you have to stub your toe before you're like, maybe I should probably do something a little bit different? It's maddening. We haven't even talked about the defense because that's a whole different, another ball of wax. But I just see a lot of predictability in what they're doing again, and I feel like they went back to a lot of that predictability. And the Broncos had their number almost all day long. They saw it on the caller ID. They're like, "Yep, that's them," and it was, I don't know, man. There was just I haven't been that annoyed watching one of their games recently since the Giants in week 3.
Yeah, that was, I mean, you're taking the scenic route. It's good. It's great, Nick, because we got a full tank of gas, so you can continue to explore the space and do everything.
How many gallons we got here, buddy? We got 36 like a truck, or what do we got here? 13 with 400 miles in one of those Toyota RAV4s.
We got it all, Nick. We can go wherever you need to go here. I mean, one thing was notable is that the Chiefs, they did run more RPOs than they ran against Buffalo, but again, it's not really a threat or a consideration for the defense if all of your run pass options are all pass. You gotta run the football occasionally and make different, and this isn't necessarily confined to the run game, but it is in this sense, which is that if you're not occasionally running the ball on first down to get yourself a couple of yards, to say, I don't know, get yourself into 2nd and 7 instead of 2nd and 10 after an incompletion, you're just setting yourself up to get into 3rd and longs against a team like Denver that only has the best third down defense in the league. So maybe that wasn't some great decisions there, but I once again, I go back to my old phrase when And I say that this Chiefs offense used to struggle. Now that we think about it, between 2018 to 2022, there were no struggles. There were just days that maybe the offense wasn't on fire enough. But I always used to say, Nick, that sometimes Patrick Mahomes has to eat his vegetables. And today he definitely didn't do that right off the bat, because, that opening drive, and Mahomes mentioned this, the incompletion to Worthy, I mean, it was a fine shot. I understood why he took it. Play was designed for Travis Kelce underneath, and Kelce was available and open. Could have just picked up a first down and continued to move the chains. Instead, takes a shot deep, 2nd and 10, one more incompletion. All of a sudden, you're in 3rd and 10, right where the Broncos want you. They took another shot downfield and they're off the field. I mean, there was no attempt other than the second down throw to Noah Gray. There was no attempt on that scheme right there, that to even bother trying to hold on to the football and move the chains.
Yeah.
I need the Tylenol. Where's the Tylenol?
Matt, here's the thing I'm going to throw out at you. There's a reason I asked each coach / coordinator what I did in the press conferences this week, and I made sure I put them up on my TikTok, because I wanted to be able to remember and go back and look at those specifically after this Broncos game was over. And did they deliver on what they talked about? I asked Steve Spagnuolo about Bo Nix and how do you keep him out of rhythm and unsettled. First play, they bring Chamari Conner in on a blitz. Boom, hit him. And I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. That's how you go about that. Take him to church. Throw punch him. And I like that aggressiveness. Then there would be third downs, like 3rd and 15, where they would bring a 3-man rush. I don't know if you know this about your football team, but you could struggle to rush with 4. Now you're giving Bo Nix, who needs to be sped up as a quarterback, who has nothing but 2 years of tape that says, hey, if you speed this guy up, he's going to throw it in the dirt. He's going to throw it up for grabs. He's going to become the third coming of Derek Carr. It's possible. All that is available if you just rush him and blitz him and make him antsy. That's what the ball game was going to decide, folks, is if you did that. So on those 3rd and 15s, bring somebody, hit him in the mouth, do what you got to. I mean, technically don't hit him in the mouth because you're going to get a penalty. And that crew, given how terrible they were going to call everything. So, and by the way, I'm going to say this now. That was an awful crew to have for such a marquee matchup. Like, I think they got the memo or something sent to him at halftime. They're like, hey, buddy, let's calm this down. We've already got 18 penalties in this game collectively. Let's maybe not call that in the 3:25 window game. Let's not do that. So that crew, I don't know what they got graded, but I know it's not going to be good. I don't think they're going to have to worry about the playoffs or any more marquee games. They're going to get to go to Browns versus whoever they're playing that week. So good luck on those assignments. But to get back to what I'm talking about, so, there was so many times Steve Spagnuolo, he's been passive this year whenever you can't be passive. And that was last time against Josh Allen. That was today against Bo Nix. And I'm just surprised to see that. I'm like, hey, buddy, you've only got, your defense is based around, can Chris Jones get to the quarterback? Even whenever he's worn out, even when he's exhausted, can he get to the quarterback? That determines your whole defense right now. That is the reality of it. And the rest of your pass rush is ineffective, and you got to bring a blitz, and you got to be able – and so for Bo Nix, you got to be able to keep him out of rhythm. And there was times, man, Brian Cook was struggling to get over top. Chamari Conner was having some struggles cornerback-wise. Watson was out of position sometimes. Trent McDuffie, had some issues here and there. Like secondary-wise, they weren't having a great day. So, I mean, it's just sad to me. It seems more and more with each passing week. It seems like Patrick Mahomes, Rashee Rice, and Chris Jones have to be on point to help raise this roster. And if they're physically worn out, if they're out of sync or whatever it may be, if they can't drag this team across from time to time, then you get in these 1-score games and either they're the ones that have to make the difference or it doesn't happen. And then Travis can show up, in a couple snaps or a couple plays here and there. But, realistically, Travis is 36, man. Like that's not, he's not Travis Kelce, 27, 30 years old. And that's not his fault. That's not a knock on him. That's just reality of where they're at right now. So no matter what happens the rest of the season, they are in a spot where this roster doesn't have enough to overcome mistakes and being in tight football games right now.
And one of our themes here about the game plan and not understanding a little bit about what they did on both sides of the football. Chiefs only blitzed on 24% of dropbacks.
See, and with Bo Nix, you need to be blitzing like 50, 60% of the time. It
should have been probably more like 76%. Yeah, it should have been the exact opposite.
Like Bo Nix is not Bo Nix. Let me put it this way, Matt. I apologize for interrupting, but I've been waiting to say this all day. Bo Nix is not a Mayo surgeon. He is not the elite of the elite of being able to make it rain and put it where it needs to go, especially if he's under pressure. So I just do when I'm watching the game, I'm just like this. I'm like, did you watch the film during the bye week? Because it doesn't feel like you did. So what is it you'd say you did during the bye week? I don't know, man. I'm on a rant tonight because I'm agitated. And the only thing that's going to calm me down is Landman at this point.
I'm kind of thinking the only thing that might calm you down is a sport coffee.
Well, maybe a Dr. Pepper. You never know, bud. But yeah, man, I was beyond annoyed. Like, I mean, Juwan Taylor. Oh, and can we talk about special teams, or do you have somewhere you want to go right now?
There was only one thing I wanted to note on the defense, and then let's go to special teams, because special teams is its own topic into consideration. The one thing that really, really baffles me is that here we are at this point, and I know we've been deep into the season before Steve Spagnuolo has really kind of figured out what he's got. But that's what, I mean, just stood out to me so dramatically with Christian Fulton getting back in there. And I've talked about Christian Fulton and obviously the injury slowing him down and picking up the defense and everything. But we're going from the game against Buffalo, where Noel Williams played season-high snaps all season, got exposed a little bit. Buffalo was not his best game. Go to the bye week, come out the other side of it. Noel Williams is basically removed from the game plan. He was non-existent defensively today. He wasn't making plays. He wasn't on the field. He just wasn't put out there. But Christian Fulton was out there, and Christian Fulton got toasted several different times.
Yeah.
And then you look at the safety group, and you talked about, Cook was struggling at times, and we've seen the in and out and disappearing act of Jaden Hicks, and we've seen Chamari Connor, moving around, and we don't really know where he is most of the time, and sometimes I'm not sure he knows where he is. We're week 11. We're going to week 12, and Steve Spagnuolo does not really have an idea about what his cornerback rotation is behind Trent McDuffie and Jalen Watson, and doesn't really know what his safety rotation, I think, is at all. I mean, it's concerning. And I will say there was only one note, and maybe there's just a curse. I mean, I don't know if Tony Romo has a relationship with Jalen Watson's agent, and I think Jalen Watson's actually having a really good season. So this is no knock on him. I was just surprised to hear Tony Romo just pounding the table for the Pro Bowl for Jalen Watson, and then kind of gets burned on the biggest play of the game to Troy Franklin. But yeah, now let's go on to special teams.
Okay.
We've toasted everybody else. Let's toast special teams.
Yeah.
Roasted, rather.
So first thing I'm gonna rant about here is I'm sorry, but I know Nico Remigio's roster spot is he's the returner. He's the kick returner. He's the punt returner. That's his job. And I've said this time and time again, he has no speed. He has no burst. And right now they need somebody back there that's got burst and got speed, that can be able to give them a spark that they're not getting from their offense right now, to be able to get them to the 40, get them to midfield, get them past midfield. And I know Dave Tope says every week, they're this close to breaking it. They're this close to breaking it. Not with Nico's speed. I'm sorry. That's just the reality. Whether you got to put Rashard Smith back there, whether you got to put Thornton, whatever, you got to do something different. Like that may be what this team needs to have, a short field. They have to go 40 yards instead of them having to go 80 or them having to go 70. And then you have, the holding penalties, it seems like 2 or 3 a game. I don't remember there being one this week other than the weird block in the back when they were on kickoff that I'd never seen before, but that's par for the course with how that crew went today. And then the blocked, is the block extra point, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So what I saw there, and maybe they did something new and innovative that I didn't know that football had rule-wise. Guys are supposed to step in. It's called elephant stepping. You step down inside and you protect the guy next to you. You're stepping in shoulder, so you're blocking that gap so the person cannot get through. Jawan Taylor rotates out. And so the Broncos had something. They did something to manipulate there to where they had this guy fan across, the long snapper. They had one at Wanye. And Jawan's rotating like it's a pass set. And then so that guy came right through his inside shoulder. Boom. Swatted it. We'll see ya. And like, look, here's the thing. I'm not saying that was the difference in the football game, because the Chiefs still would have had to go down the field in the next couple of drives and have play calling that could execute and be coherent enough to be able to get some first downs, eat up time, and go out and get out of Denver with a win. So like that play didn't make the difference, but that play is a microcosm of just all these little things that keep happening on offense, defense, and special teams overall that cost them the games. And they don't have an overwhelming enough roster to be able to overcome all those little errors. And so I had somebody on Twitter say to me, X, whatever you want to call it, say to me, they need Eric Bieniemy back. This is much bigger than Eric Bieniemy. This is a roster issue. This is a coaching issue. This is a scheme issue. This is across the board. You've got a lot of people that had a lot of success together. Some of them leaned on a lot of different things. And guess what? Guess what happened, Matt?
What happened?
That fence post got a bunch of termites in it, and it rotted out there around that Super Bowl, and then it fell over. So you can't lean on that post anymore. It's not a leaning post anymore. It's just a shell of its former self. So we'll see what happens with the Chiefs here. Maybe this is the wake-up call they needed, and they are going to go on, and a lightning bolt's going to strike, and they are just going to go out and dominate, go to the Super Bowl, and all of it's going to occur. And people will come at me and say, oh, you got to eat your words. Cool, that's great. But the product I've seen through 10 games tells me they are either exhausted, they don't have fresh ideas, or they just don't have enough on this roster to execute the fresh ideas or what they're doing. So it's and you would have thought during the bye week they would have had a couple things that would have been new wrinkles that you're like, all right, hey, that can work. Okay, cool. I guess that's what bugs me the most about what happened in the Chiefs Broncos game is I saw an opponent for 2 weeks in a row now, or 2 games in a row now, that was 3 to 4 steps ahead of them. And they seemed okay with it. They seemed like, well, all right.
Yeah. There's something just not right with this team, because this isn't the same team that I feel like that we've been watching week in and week out for the last 7 years. There's something that this team is missing, and whether it's been missing all along or whether it got taken away from them in New Orleans by the Eagles when they stole their lunch money at the Super Bowl, I don't know. But there's something that's just misfiring with this team, and maybe they find it. Maybe they go out. I mean, hey, their margin of victory this year is like 19 points. The games in which they've won, they've blown out some people. They just can't win any close games, which has been their bread and butter in the past. I mean, that's been what they do the best. Last year they didn't lose any close games. This year they can't win one. And I still say, even their losses, they're all what you would term good losses, except for Jacksonville. You can't lose to Jacksonville. That one still perplexes me, other than the Chiefs, committed every mistake that they possibly could to try and lose that game.
No.
But where do you go from here? I mean, Next Gen Stat says 59% chance of making the playoffs still. I will be interested to see what that percentage would be if they lose next week to the Colts, because this is a big game. I mean, at 5-5, Nick, you can't really go worse than 5-2 the rest of the way if you want to make the playoffs, and you might have to do better than that because you're going to lose a lot of tiebreakers.
Yeah, Matt, I wish I had something positive for you. I really do. Because, I mean, the reality of it is, let's look at this. They lost to the Chargers. Chargers 7-4. They lost to the Eagles that are 8-2. They beat the Giants that fired Brian Dabler in 2-9. They beat the Ravens that were 5-5 and a torn-up injury team at that point. Lost to the Jaguars that are 6-4. They beat the Lions that are 6-4. The Raiders, they beat them 2-7. They went on that win streak. And the Commanders are 3-8. The Bills that they lost to, Bills are 7-3. Broncos leading the league at 9-2, tied with the Patriots. So it's just like a Dr. Jekyll Hyde thing, to where they're capable of beating some teams that can play in the playoffs, and they're capable of competing against anybody. It's just there's something, I don't know if anybody can put their finger on definitively right now, that has caused them to lose their swagger, just like in Space Jams when they took all the players, the Monstars took all the players' mojo, and and they couldn't play the basketball there for a while, and Bill Murray had to step in. So it just, it's frustrating. I'm sure the coaches are frustrated. I'm sure the players are frustrated. I'm sure nobody's happy about it, but I don't know. We'll see how it shakes out, because I don't know how any week is going to go for them anymore. Like that, the ability to have confidence in them, it's not there. Like, that Bills game, I was like, after the Lions game, we're like, hey, all right, they turned a corner. Then Raiders are like, wow, okay, that was a dominating performance. And Commanders are like, okay, another dominant. Okay, now they're getting their rhythm. And then the Bills, they lose a close one, but the Bills pull up a mirror and show them all their warts. And then the Broncos come in with not exactly a dominating performance, and they let the Chiefs hang around there the entire time, and the Chiefs have a chance to really pull that game out. And then they just said, "Nah, we're good."
This might be the most perplexed I've been after a Chiefs game in a long, long time, because I just simply do not know what is going on with this team right now. We're going to continue to try and figure it out, Nick. We'll see what happens. Tuesday night, do you have any questions you want to get them off your chest? You can come onto the Chiefs Digest live stream Q&A, where Nick will probably just be watching and noting to see how long the Q&A goes.
I will not be watching live. I will check after the fact to see how the Q&A is, because you still haven't hit that mark that for me to get back on there. Yeah, you're still
hit the magic hour mark.
Still 0 of 3.
Hey, maybe we might get to be there this week, because everybody might just have the same question. I answer it once and we're out of here, which is what's wrong with these guys. So
yeah, good luck.
Might be a long answer though. So Tuesday night live stream, Chief Digest Q&A, 7:00. Join us. Be there or be square. And then next week, Nick, we got an early one, noon kickoff. So we'll probably still not get a chance, I'm assuming, to record until after work is done at the end of the evening, but maybe a little earlier than or normal. But Chiefs and Colts at noon at Arrowhead. Can't beat that.
Yeah, we'll find out. Make for a longer day for me. I know that.
We'll see which Chiefs team shows up next week. It's a mystery.
Yes.
It's a mystery box and a riddle. All right, everybody. Have a great week.
Time for me to land, man.
You've been listening to 41 is the Mic, presented by KSHB 41, your home of the Chiefs and Chiefs Digest.